Batman is a piece of propaganda for the rich elites of the world.
You serious?
Creator Jacob Dccomics has come to us with this god-awful take, creating a 10-part series on why Batman is a propaganda piece and really the villain of the story, critiquing Batman through an anti-capitalist lens. And like I said in his comment section, he just doesn't read Batman. So let's spend the next few minutes together completely destroying this 10-part series and exposing the lack of media literacy this individual possesses, or I guess fails to possess. For those of you who don't know, I'm Abyss from the Hive Mind Comics, and let's jump into exploring whether or not Batman is actually the villain.
The fact that he, in the early comics, used to take the lives of these villains.
Ooh, off to a horrible start. Batman killing his villains happened in the earliest inception of Batman. Comics before 1956 happened on Earth 2, meaning the Batman who used to kill his villains is a completely different Batman than the comic Batman we all know and love.
How good guy is he when he's always planning on double-crossing the people around him? While he was working with the Justice League, he planned on how to take down every single one of them, just in case they went rogue. Would you consider somebody your friend if they hung out with you all the time, but they were constantly trying to figure out your weaknesses so they could take you down whenever they felt like the time was right or they were justified? What he means by go rogue is if they disagree with how he wants to do things.
So this just isn't true, and you would know it if you read the comic books instead of a Screen Rant article. Go rogue does not mean disagree with how he wants to do things. How do we know this? Because whenever Batman disagrees with the Justice League or vice versa, Batman just leaves the team. If it was really just when he disagrees, he would have used them to take down the Justice League instead of leaving and starting the Outsiders, right? Like, even if you didn't read the comics, if you just watched the Justice League Doom movie, where a lot of this information comes from in the first place, Batman didn't fight them. He just said, "I don't belong here," and left. And you try to pretend like this makes his friends feel uncomfortable, which at first they did, but they acknowledged the importance of it because of the power difference between Batman and the rest of the world compared to the Justice League, which is why Superman himself trusts Batman. These plans are also only implemented when the Justice League would attack innocents, such as in Endgame in the New 52, when Batman had to fight a mind-controlled Justice League. So you're really gonna sit here and tell us these plans weren't justified?
That the Joker is very aware how him and Batman are so similar. Batman doesn't see it, but the Joker does. Now that doesn't make the Joker or Batman or any of these people the heroes of the story. You have to imagine it like a bunch of gangs are fighting for territory, and that territory is Gotham. And all of these different villains want to control the city in their image.
This is such a nothing burger argument. Anybody with political, economic, or social influence who's fighting for change is fighting to change things in their ideal image, meaning what they're doing, which is pushing for the change they want, doesn't matter. It's about why they're doing it and how they're going to do it. So Batman being similar to his villains in this way doesn't matter, since his way of creating change in his image is completely different. This is textbook horseshoe theory, which is the political theorem that suggests extremes are more similar than different.
And that's because all of the problems of Gotham are because of Bruce Wayne. Most of the depictions of Gotham show that it's pretty booty and it's overrun by crime. And that Batman goes around, he finds these criminals, and he mercilessly beats them.
This is a very extraordinary claim. I hope you have some extraordinary evidence, which I highly doubt, because you already made a massive blunder. Batman is far from merciless. In fact, he holds back on everybody. Quite literally everybody. Even superhuman assassins. So already your claim sucks. But let's see why all of these problems are Batman's fault.
And people are like, oh yeah, he's doing this to help crime, but we know that this doesn't help the crime. Batman has actually made the situation far worse.
Oh, really? If we look at this scan right here, after looking at Gotham's crime statistics, Alfred tells us that crime has been dropping since the night Bruce put on the cowl. Hell, let's analyze the statistic given to us in this scan. 231 lives lost. This is important because Gotham is a city of about 9 million, meaning it would be the largest populated city if it were in real-life America, by a significant margin, by the way. With that in mind, if we calculated how many homicides per capita, we would see that if Gotham was placed in real-life America, in terms of homicide rate, Gotham would be the safest city in the country. And if you look specifically at the criminals apprehended by Batman, they have under a 2% recidivism rate. For those of you who don't know, that means those criminals captured by Batman have less than a 2% chance to relapse into criminal behavior. So let's hear you desperately try to explain why Batman isn't helping.
First off, that we know a lot of problems in society stem from the fact of economic inequality. Most theft is caused because people don't have enough. People join cults and groups so that they protect them and that they have a sense of community and family. So when you have the richest guy in the city and he's going around in a bat suit, just beating people mercilessly for their economic-based crimes, you start to realize that Bruce Wayne is the problem.
Even if we were to entertain this stupid notion that the criminals in Gotham are only because of economic disparity, Bruce does a lot to help their financial situation. There is an abundance of affordable low-income housing that Bruce Wayne funds through Wayne Corp. Even when Batman lost his fortune, the first thing he did when he got the chance was start to rebuild the slums of Gotham into low-income affordable housing. Not only this, but he invests significantly in things like clinics to get free healthcare for Gothamites. So I don't know where this dumb notion that Batman doesn't try to improve social economic factors for Gothamites comes from.
He's just doing this whole Batman routine to get more employees. I'm not even kidding. Like in this one, he's hanging this dude off this building, and then he tells him that he needs to start working for the Gotham Electric Company, driving a truck, or else he's coming for him. Like, pause to read so you know I'm not making this up. And he does it under the guise of you need to support your family, but he told him where he's going to work and that if he fails to work, he's gonna come after him.
First off, you're either intellectually compromised or just decided to be dumb on purpose. You say that Batman's doing it to gain more employees. Nowhere in that scan is Batman telling the guy to work for him. Second, this is just blatant hypocrisy and a contradiction in your argument. You claim Batman doesn't do anything to help these people improve their social economic status so they would deter from crime, but when Batman is forcing somebody out of crime into a productive way of life to be able to support his family and not need to turn to crime, oh, now it's a problem. Batman in these instances guarantees them to be able to get the job. This puts them in a financially better scenario. This is why the recidivism rate in Gotham is so low for people Batman deals with. And let's just say Batman was only doing this for his own selfish gain to have more employees. In this context, who cares? Because they're not committing crimes and they're able to financially support their families, leading them to not recommit crimes. This is literally exactly what you were just criticizing Batman for not doing. Now that he's doing it, it's a problem.
See, Bruce Wayne understands how this is happening. He knows by the way that Wayne Enterprises has siphoned the money out of the city. He's created a boundless monopoly where he doesn't have to pay people much. As Batman, he can hold things over people's heads. He can force them to work for him. He starts talking about, do you have health insurance? And then he tells them that they're gonna need health insurance and a lawyer after Batman gets through with them unless they come work with him at Wayne Industries.
Again, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Unfortunately for you, you provided absolutely nothing. No evidence suggesting that Batman underpays these people, let alone purposefully does so. Nor do you have any evidence that Batman's company siphons the funds out of Gotham. This objectively isn't true, and we'll get more into it later on because you continue to make horrible points. But the comic book that you're referencing, where Batman's telling these people to work for his company, isn't even comic Batman. This is a tie-in comic for the 2004 animated series. But for a second, let's entertain the idea that this was comic book Batman. Batman didn't say they have to work for him. Batman gave them an opportunity to work for them. That doesn't mean that they can't work anywhere else that they want to. Batman was trying to get them to work so that they wouldn't need crime. And he's offering a pathway to do that through working for him. So if you're criticizing Batman for this, is your argument that Batman shouldn't let these people work at all and should let them continue to commit crimes to be able to make up for that economic disparity?
This year that Bruce Wayne's not beating up any of the rich people at these parties who have been embezzling money.
So, off rip, already a critical presupposition that completely annihilates your argument. You have no proof that these rich people at these specific parties committed the crimes you're accusing them of. How do we know that this is a critical presupposition? Because when they are actually guilty of what you say they are, Batman takes them down. The perfect example would be Jezebel Jet from Grant Morrison's run. This is also a crazy, stupid take, because if you read Batman Year 1, depicting literally his first year as Batman, he declares war on the rich elites of Gotham City. Like, the entire premise of the Year 2 story, The Long Halloween, is fighting corruption within Gotham City, attacking the rich elite crime syndicate, the Falcone family. So what in the absolute fuck are you talking about that Batman doesn't go after the rich?
Which is totally true. Bruce Wayne has PTSD. What happened to his parents is horrible and it's so sad. But he uses that pain to justify beating people up that resemble the criminals that hurt his parents.
So this isn't true either. Batman puts on the persona of being vengeful. It's a purposeful disguise. He doesn't like fighting. He doesn't like beating people up. He's Batman because he wants to save people and he wants to heal and help. He's doing it because his father was a doctor and his mother was so compassionate. Yes, he's Batman because of trauma, but that trauma doesn't lead him to want to take vengeance and punish those who hurt others. He's Batman because that trauma makes him want to help others and save everyone so nobody has to experience death like he did.
He has a company that's monopolized most of Gotham. A company he was handed because, again, he's just a Nepo baby. Bruce Wayne loves his rich and opulent lifestyle because Batman's all about taking out the poor people who threaten capitalism, not the rich people who benefit from it. And then right before the lasso of truth comes off, he says one last thing. Batman says, if I really wanted to end crime, I would just end poverty. And that really is it right there, is that Batman doesn't fix the issue. He's just there to battle the symptoms.
This is an absolute brain dead standard to hold Batman to. Just because he's rich doesn't mean he's able to just fix the issue. The issue is because of the capitalist system America runs by. No amount of money can just change the Constitution and fundamentally change the way the country's political system works. A free market is embedded into American politics. Just because Batman's rich doesn't mean he can change this. And no, Batman just giving away his money isn't going to fix anything. We've seen time and time again, throwing your money at issues doesn't magically solve them. So I don't know why this standard of, oh, I would do so much better if I just gave away all my money comes from. It's a dumb piece of dialogue and it's dumb in application. We've seen this time and time again throughout history, which is why Batman purposefully does specific actions to help better the situation rather than just randomly throw money at things. He offers criminals jobs directly at Wayne Enterprises because he's able to give a myriad of benefits to his employees, such as paying for any schooling they want, allowing them to get educated and move on to career paths that they want, which will inevitably improve their economic situations. So this claim that Batman contributes to the problem and does nothing to help these people out of their social economic status is a complete lie. And even at that, what do you do about the villains who aren't bogged down by their social economic status? Bane is a supervillain fighting Batman off the mere strength of a challenge. Joker is insane and does these things because he finds enjoyment in it. Scarecrow is obsessed with his research, and there's a magnitude of villains in Batman's rogues gallery that does these things for selfish gain. Throwing money at them isn't gonna stop them from doing crime, it's gonna make their crimes even worse. So no, Batman wouldn't be more effective by just throwing money at things.
A lot of people justify what Batman does, that he goes around and commits violent crimes against people, that his parents' company exploited between wages and monopolization, a market so that they get to dictate wages.
Have you guys noticed a pattern so far? It's just extraordinary claims that are completely baseless, no evidence provided. Wayne Enterprises is a technology company. They sell product, not service, meaning the profits they get from the things that they sell is not exploitative in nature. You can't claim that the employees themselves are exploited either because they receive benefits that no normal employee receives. Capitalistic exploitation comes from employers profiting more off of the workers' labor than the workers themselves. But Wayne Enterprises specifically offers benefits that no other employers offer, meaning that at the bare minimum, the workers at Wayne Enterprises are getting relative compensation for the value they provide, meaning it is not exploitation. You're also just presupposing that the Waynes offered a horrible wage. Based on what we know about the Waynes and their personalities and how they view humans, it's significantly less likely that they built their wealth off of exploiting everybody. Just because in real life billionaires aren't ethical doesn't mean that in a fictional setting where they're establishing these things to be true, it cannot exist as such. It's possible in fiction to have an ethical billion-dollar company, which is specifically why this isn't propaganda. It's not just deciding to show a billionaire in good light to make the billionaire look good. It's putting the billionaire in a good light because of the ethical practices the billionaire has.
First off, the Court of Owls was written almost 75 years after Batman was created. And a lot of Batman fans will be like, well, they were running things the entire time in Gotham, going back to the 1600s. Yeah, in the timeline of this, but before it was written in 2011, they never existed.
What? So because they retcon something to employ new context to scenarios, it's now no longer true? But you can pull up a bunch of scans from 2005 and beyond, which is over 50 years after Batman's inception, to show why Batman is unethical and really the villain. But when other people do it for the opposite, it's a problem? Yeah, right.
If we're going to accept that the Court of Owls was always there because somebody wrote about it almost 75 years after its inception, then you have to accept that everything is canon. Like FaZe Clan being part of Batman. Do you guys think that FaZe Clan is actually part of Batman?
Holy shit, that was stupid.
Yeah, if we accept that the story that's canon came out 75 years after another canon story, then we have to accept that non-canon books are actually canon too.
Yes, I'm going to accept that every new release of a canon book is canon to the canon continuity. You saying then we have to accept non-canon books is just stupid and not a defeater.
People can cherry pick examples of when they've gone around and tried to change this. We can show in some of the comics that he'll fight corrupt cops, or that he tries to take down these wealthy elites that run everything. But that's not who Batman is at his core.
You're just intellectually dishonest. You are doing the exact same thing by cherry picking examples that aren't even real examples as to why Batman should be the villain. You're literally saying everything that Batman has done that disproves your stance isn't actually Batman at his core because I don't like it. You have a preconceived notion of what Batman is because you're applying real life standards to this fictional verse, and then you just don't like it when the comic books disagree with you, actively showing you that you're incorrect. You're just stuck in cognitive dissonance.
Highlighting how Batman doesn't want these inmates to heal mentally because that would mean he has to address and fix his own issues.
This is an example of you doing exactly what you just criticized Batman fans for doing. You're cherry picking examples from one book and then applying it unilaterally. Saying Batman doesn't want his villains to get mental help is unbelievably stupid. Batman's whole character and why he's Batman is to save everybody, including his villains. The core aspect of his character, the reason he doesn't kill people, is because he believes everybody has the potential to do good, and he wants to preserve that good in everybody and utilize it for the betterment of society. This is why he doesn't give up on characters like the Joker. He's seen into Joker's mindscape. He knows there's still good left in him. The only reason he's still alive to this day is because Batman doesn't give up on him and wants to make him sane again. This is why Batman has been working with villains like Harley Quinn or Clayface for a time frame. Even Ghostmaker. Batman believes in rehabilitation and he wants his villains to get help and for them to do good.
Because I spoke critically of Batman, suddenly they just claim that I don't know Batman, and they ignore everything that I pointed out with sources.
You not knowing Batman is clear. Majority of the things you pointed out were either not true or just devoid of any context, let alone the actual baseless claims that you are making throughout the entire thing. Just because you use a comic panel doesn't mean you provided a source. Anyone can go on Google and grab an image of something that relates to their point. I guarantee you, if we were to sit down and I asked you to provide these comic books with issues and year release dates, you wouldn't be able to do it because you didn't read these stories. You didn't find these comic scans by yourself. You have a preconceived notion of what Batman is because he's a billionaire, and then Googled a bunch of scans to try to find things that relate to your point. You didn't even read Court of Owls until somebody told you to read it. Court of Owls is one of Batman's most popular and iconic stories. It's a jumping off point because it starts at issue 1. I find it very hard to believe you know Batman and read Batman yet haven't read Court of Owls.
And it's because billionaires and the ultra wealthy, they're leeches on society. You don't become a billionaire by working hard, you become a billionaire by exploiting the work of other people.
In real life, sure, but Batman is not in real life. To exploit, you need to unfairly benefit off of the expense of others. Billionaires do this by not paying their workers equal to the value that their work brings. Not only is there no evidence that Batman underpays his workers, but even if we were to say that he does, the reciprocal benefits and additional services that Wayne Enterprises offers to not only their workers, but Gotham as a whole compensates for at least relative value to the work that the employees bring to the company. Whether it be healthcare, housing, education, or community service, all the value being brought to Wayne Enterprises is getting put back into society. And I forgot to touch on this before, but even after the Joker War, where Batman lost his billions of dollars, with the significantly less amount of money that he had, the first thing he did after fighting Failsafe was invest into affordable housing in the slums of Gotham, going to show that Batman does indeed care, not so he can keep people poor and he can stay rich.
At the very beginning of Court of Owls, he is doing a fundraiser with a bunch of the wealthy people in the city, trying to raise funds for what he says is Gotham's future. And remember this is exactly what wealthy people do. He says that they're going to rebuild some of Gotham's most derelict industrial neighborhoods, and that they plan on modernizing and expanding Gotham's public transit system. And then he shows a hologram of what this would look like. It's just skyscrapers. There's nothing else different about the city. Do we think that he's going to make public housing in these skyscrapers? I highly doubt it. He's going to gentrify these areas.
That's a very bold claim again, providing no evidence. You're just presupposing Batman's intentions is to make these areas wealthier ones, requiring more income to live there affordably. This point specifically made me question your media literacy exponentially more than before. You acknowledge the fact that he's adding public transit, specifically in an industrial area. Why would he be adding a public service to an industrial area? I don't know, probably to make commuting to work for Gothamites much more affordable and accessible, which again is Batman providing resources to help improve the socioeconomic status of Gothamites. You say Batman's only gonna be adding skyscrapers. Again, you read on the page that public transit is going to be a thing. So in what universe did those two pieces of information lead to the conclusion that only skyscrapers are going to be added? Like I've shown before, Batman and Wayne Enterprises does help build affordable homes. So let's just assume the worst of Batman in this scam. Why does Batman wanting to modernize one specific part of Gotham disregard or override the fact that he's also contributed greatly to affordable housing?
Alfred says, though you did fail to mention the myriad of new bat bunkers you'll be building throughout the city. He isn't going around building up these buildings so that he can help anybody. It's because he wants to create this military-industrial complex beneath these buildings so that when he goes out as Batman, he has more locations to travel to get supplies or to hide out. Bruce isn't doing this for everyone else. He's doing this for himself. He's created this facade that he's going to go out and help people, but ultimately he's helping himself and his agenda.
So from this point specifically, and this will be the last point of the video, I realize not only are you intellectually dishonest and lack media literacy, you're also just pretty stupid. Why are you quoting theory that you don't understand? You claim that Batman building bunkers under Gotham with this modernization plan is to create a military-industrial complex. For those of you who don't know, what the military-industrial complex is essentially the theory of a cycle of war. Defense contractors make money selling weapons to a military. Therefore, it's in the best interest of those contractors for wars to continue to happen so they can keep selling their weapons and making money. And then the government benefits because then they have a better military and they can tax their citizens more for the security that it brings. Now, let's really critically think about how this could apply to Batman. Batman gets money from donors. Batman uses that money to build bat bunkers. Batman fights crime. So for this to be a military-industrial complex, the war or the conflict needs to be perpetuated so others can benefit or profit. There's two problems with this. One, this presupposes Batman creates more crime, which I've already gone over and debunked. And two, this presupposes Batman profits from all this crime fighting, which if we just read Batman, we know isn't true. Every time any public damage to the city happens through Batman's crime fighting, Batman pays out of pocket to fix and repair. Meaning not only is Batman spending money on the equipment he uses, he's spending money to use that equipment in the first place. There is no profit for Batman to make from getting donations from these businesses. And these businesses do not profit anymore from crime continuing to happen in Gotham. You tried to frame this as in this is Batman really secretly wanting to do what he wants to do and he doesn't care about people or the city. I don't know why you're pretending like these things are mutually exclusive. Batman can want to secretly have a bunch of bat bunkers, but also want to help the city. The reason this is significantly more likely is because if Batman only wanted to help himself and didn't really care about the city, why would he not just take the donation money and just build the bat bunkers and say fuck the skyscrapers? There was a few other things that he said in his 10-part series, but there's just way too many baseless claims being made there. So I propose this. He has been tagged on both TikTok and in the description of this video. So I propose we do a debate about this if you still feel this way after watching this video. We could do it on my platform or we could do it on your platform. It could be on TikTok or YouTube, don't care. We can even do it in a Discord call, record it and then send it out and post it. Even if you want to record it and then only you post it so only you can benefit from it, I don't really care. So long as you know that you're wrong on this topic, a debate's all that matters. If you guys watching the video enjoyed content like this, make sure to leave a like, comment down below your thoughts, and then subscribe for more content like this in the future. And until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.